Welcome everyone to Monday Morning Morons for November 18th, 2019. This week, let's begin with racism. Specifically, how to create more of it. University group coaches white employees how not to be racist. See it? You feel the need to segregate out white people and tell them not to be racist, thereby actually being racist because you think only white people can be. What's your next lesson? Invite David Duke to teach us all what it really means to be black? You are a racist teaching racism. That's all you're doing. The only difference between you dipshits and David is which race you've decided is bad. Beyond that, same shit. A private Jesuit university in Los Angeles is host to an anti-racist group that seeks to educate and support white-identifying employees in their battle against racism. The Alliance of White Anti-Racists Everywhere, Loyola, Marymount, or AWARE, LMU, describes itself as a white affinity group that supports white faculty and staff in deepening our learning about the impact of systemic racism on individuals, institutions, and society. The focus of the group is to develop the capacity of those who identify as white to participate in challenging conversations about race or racism without expecting people of color to be educators, AWARE administrators told the College Fix in a statement. Well, that's awfully nice of you. Damn stupid white people always expecting black people to have their own voice and opinions about racism. How dare you burden them like that? Let the super woke rich white liberals speak for them. You guys are fucking hysterical. An affinity group is not so much a training as it is a space for dialogue based on a shared experience or identity. Dialogue in which one person tells the other person they are racist because they were born the wrong color, and any refusal, of course, confirms that they are racist. That's not dialogue shit for brains, that's lecture and moral judgment. Oh yeah, and the very definition of racism while we're at it. AWARE LMU first began meeting during the summer of 2018 after Puza and White worked with the university's Office of Intercultural Affairs to facilitate a group webpage and funding for materials. They estimate about 5 to 10 staff members show up to their meetings. When asked what specific form of racist conduct AWARE LMU advises white employees to avoid, they could not provide any specific forms of training, only stating, "There are no easy or quick answers for what behaviors to avoid. What is required is a willingness to be open to feedback and to recognize that the complexity of everyone's identities and life experiences shape how we relate to people. The more deeply we listen to what people share with us and what they don't share, the more likely we are to relate to everyone in ways that promote equity and pluralism." Well now, that sounds like a class totally worth taking, huh? What are you going to teach us? How not to be racist. Awesome! How do I do that? Oh, well, I don't really know anything specific. Would you like me to help you guys out on this one? Free of charge, I promise. How not to be racist. Stop treating people differently because of their skin color. That's it. That's the whole class. One sentence. Done. You're welcome. Don't forget to tip your waitress. What's next? University invites students to decolonize your Thanksgiving. Well, I guess we should at least be happy they didn't skip right over Thanksgiving in their mad rush to bitch about Christmas this year. I guess that's improvement. A Pennsylvania university is hosting an event aimed to both decolonize Thanksgiving and educate students about the myths of Thanksgiving, along with serving decolonial cuisine on campus. So you're going to decolonize a story about colonials. Genius. Students at Indiana University of Pennsylvania are invited to decolonize Thanksgiving on Thursday at a table hosted by IUP's Native American Awareness Council and sponsored by the school's Social Equity and Title IX office. The function encourages students to decolonize your Thanksgiving and to go beyond the harmful Pilgrims and Indians narrative of the first Thanksgiving. beyond Pilgrims and Indians. So, go beyond what actually happened and what? Talk about shit that didn't happen? I mean, I'm curious, if I'm not supposed to focus on what actually happened at the first Thanksgiving, then exactly what the fuck am I supposed to focus on? And by the way, apparently you haven't noticed, but there aren't that many people left who focus on that story anymore anyway. Most Americans focus on their families during this holiday. We're a pretty transient bunch of people, really. American families don't generally stay in the same town and raise generations. They have kids who run off hundreds of miles away, who have their kids who run off hundreds of miles further, etc., etc., etc. Thanksgiving is the holiday where many of these far-flung families come back together to spend a long weekend together, have a good meal, catch up a bit, then head back to their far-flung lives. Pilgrims and Indians is hardly ever mentioned anymore, except, of course, by whiny, privileged shits on college campuses whose life is apparently so fucking good that they have to cling to other people's historical grievances because they don't have any of their own to occupy their abundant outrage time. The event is part of the Native American Awareness Council celebration of National Native American Heritage Month on IUP's campus. Stories told about the first Thanksgiving often perpetuate harmful stereotypes and racism, the event page asserts. Interesting, isn't it? I mean, all of my life, the Thanksgiving story was about cooperation, despite racial and cultural differences. The event description also encourages students and faculty to focus on common values, generosity, gratitude, community, and good food. I.e., the exact things the story was already about and most people already do focus on. Thank heavens you're here to tell us to do the things we already do. There will be copies of the suppressed speech of Wamsuta James. Abigail Adams, the chairperson for IUP's Native American Awareness Council, told Campus Reform. Well, it's not very suppressed, considering it took me all of about 5 seconds to find it. And by the way, doesn't really say anything particularly earth-shattering. Essentially just recounts a history we're all aware of. Native Americans were treated quite badly by European settlers and later the United States. Again, we already know that. The problem is, it's history. And I apologize if it offends your delicate sensibilities, but I can't fix history no matter how much bitching, whining, and submissive bootlicking I do. I wasn't there, and I'm not responsible for the actions of others. So, what's that popular phrase Alyssa Milano ripped off from a song and uses as her super pithy catchphrase? Yeah, that's it. Sorry, not sorry. We have a poster that addresses the myth of Thanksgiving with quotes from the native scholars and activists, she added. Adams also stated that Carrie House, a Two-Spirit Navajo scholar who had hosted a lecture on campus in 2017 about native Two-Spirits, and is labeled as a presenter of social justice, LGBTQ2, and cultural and environmental issues, will also be at the table to offer the native perspective on Thanksgiving. Well, that's fortunate. They managed to find the one Native American who can tell us what all Native Americans think. Talk about lucky, huh? In addition, the NAAC Social Equity and Title IX Office will hold a concurrent event throughout the week titled the Decolonial Cuisine Celebration that is described as a culinary movement honoring the heritage of indigenous America through their foodways and dietary choices. See the problem? They couldn't just call it what it is, Native American cuisine. That doesn't drum up enough faux outrage that way. They had to define it by what it is not. Colonial. By the way, don't worry folks, even if you decolonize your traditional Thanksgiving meal, it won't be all that different. Turkeys, corn, cranberries, and pumpkins are all native to North America. The evil colonists didn't bring them. You know what is not native to North America, though? Horses. The Spanish brought them. Moving on. Women's college now only requires applicants to identify as women. Just declare it a fucking co-ed school then and be done with it. I mean, that's literally all you're actually doing. You're just pretending it's about some super freaking woke gender is a meaningless word bullshit. In an effort to keep up with the evolving understanding of gender, a Virginia women's college will no longer require its applicants to be biologically female, but rather only to identify as women. Individuals already at the school who currently identify as women, but who transition to live as men, will also be allowed to stay. Until this month, Hollins University allowed students to identify as male, but those who chose to solidify the identity with hormones or surgery were required to leave the college before the next semester. The new policy, updated Wednesday, will allow such students to continue their education and graduate from Hollins. As far as admission goes, Hollins will now consider for admission any individuals who consistently live and identify as women. This means that in order to be considered, any applicant to Hollins must affirmatively identify herself as a woman, and her application materials must support this self-identification. Define living as. I mean, your own words there. Not only do men have to identify as women, but they have to live as women to be accepted. So what does it mean to live as a woman? Define it. And tell me how that's different than living as a man. Go on, trot right out into that minefield you folks created and tell me what living as a woman means without stepping all over your dick and reinforcing patriarchal gender roles. You see, women can be whatever they want. They can dress however they want. They can think whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. They can act however they want. And they can, of course, sleep with whoever they want. So then, exactly how does one live as a woman? However you want. See the problem with your nonsensical pile of bullshit yet? Everyone who says they are a woman is a woman. And you can't tell them otherwise without being a misogynist. Next one, Bob. California cities ban gas stove hookups to fight global warming. Yes. This one comes courtesy of Defiantance. I don't have a lot to say on this one, but I thought it worth pointing out the funny part anyway. Environmentalists in California are willing to let the state dictate how they cook in their own kitchens in an attempt to save the planet. 13 cities and 1 county in California have put in place zoning codes encouraging or requiring all-electric new construction, virtually banning builders from running natural gas lines into homes and apartments to fuel appliances, including stoves and ovens. You see it? No more cooking with gas. You must use electricity to save the planet. Anyone want to guess where that electricity comes from? Brilliant. Toxic time, Bob. Florida woman bites boyfriend's penis after accusing him of cheating. A Florida woman allegedly bit her boyfriend's penis and threatened him with a knife after she accused him of wanting to have sex with another woman, a report said. The alleged assault happened during an hours-long drinking session in Miami Beach that ended at about 3 a.m. Wednesday, a local NBC affiliate reported. Esperanza Gomez, 33, was drinking beers with her boyfriend when a female friend joined them at about midnight, according to the report. The friend left a short time later, but Gomez became enraged and accused her boyfriend of wanting to bed the woman. She allegedly shouted at him, grabbed him by the arms, and began to poke him with a knife, according to a police report obtained by the station. She then bit his penis out of frustration, he later told the police. Gomez was arrested and hit with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, according to county records. Her bond was set at $6,500. Well, thank goodness toxic aggression, anger, violence, and jealousy are strictly masculine traits, huh? Otherwise, this might have gotten really out of hand or something. Okay, let's finish up with some good news. Affirmative action in education loses, again, at the ballot box in Washington state. Now, I'll let y'all read the rest for yourselves if you like, but I wanted to point out one little thing before the celebration gets too out of hand. When the Washington legislature overturned the voters' 20-year-old ban on affirmative action in higher education, employment, and government contracting this spring, etc., etc., catch that first part? Voters had already voiced their opposition to this shit 20 years ago, but their elected so-called leaders don't give a fuck. They were going to just wipe this shit away anyway because, of course, we know what's best for you peasants. So while it's nice to see that the majority of voters still oppose this thinly veiled racist bullshit, even in deep blue Washington, it's a bit unclear how much this vote will actually matter, since apparently the Washington legislature isn't all that interested in what the voters think anyway. Still, nice little wake-up call for the woke hipsters who think they speak for the majority. You don't. The majority actually isn't as racist as you are. That's it for this week, but before I go, short announcement. As anyone who's followed me for a few years now should know, I will be on my annual vacation starting on Friday afternoon of this week. That means I unplug for a week. Actually, it's about 9 days because I count the weekend before and the weekend after. I don't watch or read the news, I don't get on social media, I don't read comments, and I don't check emails. I just unplug and shut down for a week. Travel a few hundred miles to visit family for the week of Thanksgiving, and then I come back. So that means there won't be a Monday Morning Morons for November 25th, and no Monday Morning Morons for December 2nd. I won't be around to do the Sunday Driver for those 2 weekends either. So don't panic when you don't see them. We'll get back to normal, starting with Sunday Driver on the 8th of December, and Monday Morning Morons will be back on the 9th. In the meantime, everyone enjoy the holiday, spend time with your families and friends, eat your decolonized food, and of course, remember to repeat your social justice prayer every day. Women are victims, men are oppressors, and feminism is just about equality. I'll see you all in December.